I was listening to the AICPA Town Hall series podcast on one of my walks, and they brought up this issue, this CPA pipeline problem. They're actually discussing it. They waited until about 40 minutes into the episode to discuss it, but they did talk about it. And I wanted to play this because they've got some data there on what they believe is causing it. Take a listen, and then we'll discuss.
We've done, numerous studies over the years, and this is, I think, a really strong list of all the things impacting and constricting that pipeline. Tighter immigration policies, so we've got less international students studying accounting. We are seeing declining college enrollment, not only due to declining birth rates, but just less students in college. Why is that? One is increasing college costs. Over 50% of teenagers are open to something other than a 4-year degree. You're also seeing a different generation of students. They have different perspectives on education. They have a different perspective around a desire for a more immediate return on investment. And clearly they're thinking more about work life and meaning. They're trying to address the profession's reputation, address the crazy hours and the burnout and diversity challenges where students don't see themselves as CPAs and as a public accounting. So I think we've got to just change our what we're saying about public accounting and work together.
So Mike, we know these demographic issues, though, exist for every profession. This is not unique to the accounting profession. So what are some of the things that the association's doing to help the profession operate in this changing and challenging environment?
I don't know that there's any one hurdle that's stopping students more than any others. There's a number of hurdles, and in some cases you need them to protect the public. And it's the reason why, we're licensed in the work that we do. So the AICPA has taken a leadership role. We've pulled together these key stakeholders in a summit stakeholder group. We're brainstorming potential solutions. We're going to be doing extensive outreach and we'll have lots of opportunities for feedback. We are working very hard with ensuring that accounting is recognized as part of the technology within STEM. Center for Audit Quality has done a great job with advocating for accounting with their Accounting Plus initiative. So a lot of different groups are doing a lot of different things. The research has shown that firm demand is the number one driver for someone who wants to be a CPA. So, providing support, payment, rewarding them and sort of coaching them and mentoring kids through the CPA journey is really a big driver. NASPA is doing a lot as well. They're providing reminders to the candidates, the colleges and universities, and even at the high school level can do a lot to drive the excitement. It can be an exciting profession. I think we've just got to do a better job of promoting.
I am sure that there are a lot of questions coming in about the 150-hour requirement. And we talked about it as a hurdle, and it is one of many hurdles that individuals coming into our profession, and yes, it is a profession, need to tackle. There are a couple of things I wanted to raise here because there are a lot of factors as to why students don't seek CPA licensure. And absolutely, no question, the 150 hours is one of them. But I always like to put that into perspective because I know a lot of practitioners are concerned that it's the primary factor, and actually surveys show that it's not even really close. Yeah, it is one. I absolutely acknowledge that. But it's interesting when you look at the top 5 reasons, and I think they're actually very manageable, and just changing a few things could help significantly. And so the first one is workload. They can't find time to study. And so this can be fixed by just working with them just to find the time. The second one is personal time commitments. And that one's a bit tougher to fix because that gets to, family and caring for people and work-life balance, but it's related to the first one. So again, helping the individual find the time and giving them the motivation to study, I think is something that is very fixable. The third is interesting, and we're going to get into the CPA exam because I think CPA evolution and the new exam is going to help with this, is fear of failure. The fourth is navigating the exam application, and shame on us if the exam application is difficult to navigate. We need to fix that, and I know we've been working with NAS on that. And then the fifth is just, the exam is hard. It's a high stakes exam. And there's cost to the exam. And again, that's something that firms can help with. But anyway, I felt like I should go through the top 5 because 150 doesn't even fall into that category. But having said that, it is really important that we address it. And Mike mentioned the fact that we are looking at creative ways for students to accomplish that in a very cost-effective way, involving expanded internship credit hours or work study that would account for like those extra 30 credit hours. So there are a lot of things we're working on, and hopefully we'll have solutions over the next couple of months.
Okay. Sorry to make you listen to that whole segment. They took a lot longer than I remembered to get to the point. 10,000 CPAs come onto these live webinars and can give feedback. And so every time they talk about the 150-hour requirement, the 5th year requirement to get your CPA, people say that's the reason. And then every time they say that, the AICPA says, no, it's not. Our survey. We did a survey.
It's not the top 5 things.
It's not even in the top 5, which I find totally implausible. And one of our live stream viewers feels that way as well. Hazardous Items, thank you for joining us today. Hazardous Items said, the survey is biased. It only interviews people who are accounting students. It doesn't survey people who initially wanted to do accounting but then switched to finance or marketing or supply chain. Does the AICPA understand survivorship bias?
We can do this because we have the Accounting Twins podcast. I will have them do an episode on why one went that path to CPA and one didn't. Like, this is why this podcast is so great. It's the built-in experiment. But it's funny because all those other things she listed as reasons, like if you listen to the Accounting Twins podcast, this is what they're talking about.
So the AICPA, I haven't seen this survey, but I'm going to guess it's a survey of CPAs and students and accountants who are in the CPA pipeline. So they have already decided to major in accounting. They are either majoring in accounting, they are a graduate, and now they are working in a firm. They are pursuing the CPA. They're in the middle of taking their CPA, or maybe they already did. So if you survey those people and you ask them, is the 150-hour requirement the reason that you're not getting your CPA, you're not going to get a lot of people saying yes, because the people that were turned off by that never majored in accounting in the first place.
Yeah. And the ones that are there have mentally digested and just accepted it as fact at this point.
Exactly. Yeah. They've just accepted it. So that it's just completely wrong logic, right? They're totally missing the point. And I wonder if part of the reason is because the AICPA was a big advocate for the 150-hour requirement and making it happen. They led the charge to increase the reputation of the profession by increasing the educational requirements. And I think it was a giant mistake, and we got to undo it. As much as difficult as that would be, you look at the decline, and the thing is that not everything they say is wrong there, right? I think it was Mark who said that, students are experiencing increased college costs. College is way more expensive today than it was when the 150-hour requirement was passed, and especially way more expensive than most of the baby boomers who are leading at the AICPA and at firms experienced. Like my parents in their 70s, college, like my mom worked at the post office and paid for her entire college education on a part-time job. You can't do that today, right?
No.
So college enrollment is dropping because there's a strong labor shortage, which means that people can get jobs without going and getting four-year degrees. So you have fewer people going to college. And then think about it this way. If you're going to college and it's very expensive and you say, I could spend 4 years or I could spend 5 years, why would I spend 20% more when the starting salary isn't any higher or is even less than other degrees that are only 4 years? It's just logical, right? And if exam cost is even on the list, then you would think that the cost of the actual 5th year of education would be on that list. And I don't see any actual solutions in here. It's all these like, we're going to put together a stakeholder group and we're going to encourage firms to give people better workload and have time to take the CPA exam and personal time commitments. So that, like we're going to make work-life balance better in the profession, right? But like nobody can make firms do that. The AICPA can't tell firms like, okay, you need to make your accountants not work more than 40 hours a week. So the only way to solve this, the thing that we can actually do, is to reduce the barrier to entry. And, it's funny too that navigating the exam application, which is a totally horrible process, is on there. Like, NASBA does not make it easy to take the CPA exam. It's not easy. And the exam cost is on there too. So, I don't see a solution, right? This is a problem that is huge because 75% of CPAs are going to retire soon, very soon. And we already don't have enough accountants.